Hello and welcome to the video. The three of us has come to Millstone for a week. Didn't know too much about the lake. We kind of just got set up and we've gone for a quick walk around. First impressions, it's absolutely beautiful. So yeah, 120 fish I think in about just short of 7 acres. And yeah, really excited. So I'll come back to you a little bit later on with how we've got on. Cheers. Okay, so we've chosen our swims. Like I say, I'm here with two other people, my good friend Dave and a good friend Sisso. Sisso's opted to go and swim 4. I'm going to go and swim 11 and Dave is going to go and swim 1. So yeah, we're going to get the gear out now and let's see how we get on. So I've just come for a quick walk around the lake. I've just come down to the shallows here. Be a little bit quiet because I'm just going to put a bit of pellet in. I'm walking around just in the margins down here. But yeah, you're sort of looking at 2 to 3 feet in this little bay that goes round to the left there. In fact, there's, I thought it was a fish, it was a duck. But you can see a better view of the lake down here. There's quite a lot of hunting that goes on around this area, hence the dogs barking, but you don't hear it very often. So basically, down in that corner is sort of peg 11 about there. That's where I'm going to be fishing for the week. But like I said, I thought I'd just come for a quick walk around, see if I see anything for a quick bite. And my friend Mark is a bit further up this bank here in swim 4, and then right by the mill house in swim 1 is where Dave's going to be for the week. So Simon, who runs it, really friendly, really eager to help and look after you. And again, the facilities are fantastic. So you've got a lovely clean shower, 2 clean toilets that are found underneath the mill house. Just go around the side of the building and down there. You've got big freezers for your bait. You've got loads of cooking utensils, waders you can borrow. I mean, everything's there ready to go. If the weather's not great and you still want a social, you can reel in and go into the mill house. So let's carry on with a quick walk around. So in terms of fish in the lake, there's 120 fish. As I said earlier, it's just short of 7 acres. There's such an abundance of wildlife just in the short time we've been here. You know, there's all sorts of sounds going on in the forest behind, from some frogs to, I think they've got wild boar out there. Yeah, there's some fantastic wildlife. So down here, loads of stalking opportunities. I mean, I've been down here a couple of minutes ago, but just thought I'd walk back through so you could have a look. But yeah, tons of little stalking opportunities to bait up around the margins. Obviously you're not going to stick a rod in under here, but you can bait all along here, get them used to the bait. And yeah, if you've got your waders with you, then you can certainly get in and net them fairly easy because it's so shallow. But a lovely place. And again, if you're doing your proper fishing, it would always be from the main swims. Let's have a walk around. This is our first time over here to Millstone, and we heard from some good friends that it was a really fantastic place to go to. And yeah, first 20 minutes of being here, we were just amazed with how stunning it was. We've seen some real lumps jumping out. In terms of stock, as I say, around 120 fish. Biggest at the right time of year is going to be knocking on the door of sort of 68 pounds or so. They've had a really successful spawn, and so the the fish are a little bit down in weight. I think the biggest one in here is probably about 65 pound. If I come away this week breaking my PB, oops, nearly fell, breaking my PB, that would be fantastic. Now up here you'll see on the right some koi pea cages. I've seen 1 or 2 since I've been here, but quite cute little things really. But obviously they erode the bank, riverbank, a lakeside bank I should say, and so yeah, it just moves them somewhere else, I think upriver or whatever. But yeah, lovely lake. Again, this is the shallows, small little island here. But again, you know, as Simon was saying, around 12 o'clock you really kind of, you've not had a bite, you can't see any fish. It's a nice warm day, get yourself down here for a chance at stalking. So one of the biggest things Simon was saying when we arrived was, you know, bait little and often. I know it's a matchman's phrase and a good one, but he said, you know, if you keep quiet, disturbance down to a minimum, and just fish, you know, for 1 bite at a time. I don't think, from the sort of friend of mine that's been here before, that there's a particular large amount of features. I think it's pretty much clean throughout with no weed, and it certainly seems the case as I'm moving through and having a look at all the swims. So I don't think that you're going to need to spend hours feature finding, although there probably are a few hard spots. But what I have noticed is just how clean and yeah, how nice the swims are. They're all in fantastic order and look great. What I'm going to do, how I'm going to approach it, I've only brought around 10 kilo bait with me. I haven't brought a lot. I'm using the CC More live system, and fish just jumped there. CC More live system, 15mm, and I'm going to use some very small little baits. So yeah, just fish very lightly, catapult a few broken baits out, some whole ones around it, and see how we get on. Now as the lake opens up, see a little bit of the mill house just creep around the corner there. We're looking over, I think at peg 8, but again, don't hold me to that. So that's the spit that comes out with the 2 silver ferns on it, or silver ferns, silver tree. And again, from what I'm told, great stalking opportunities off the side of that island. So let's continue around. It's got a very small little stream here to the left. Again, all stunningly picturesque down here. Really impressed and really thankful we've chose Millstone, because it looks lovely. The size of that worm. So as we come down here, you can see the widest part of the lake coming into view. And it seems to be just, I mean, probably been here about 45 minutes or so. Walked around for about 10 minutes, but what I have noticed is that the fish I've seen jump seem to be following this central line, which is a good thing because it means you can pretty much access it from either side. I have noticed over here, if I zoom in, you've got a picnic bench there. So I'm assuming that if you're in, I don't know, 2, which is where Mark is just here, and someone's in 4, then obviously you can socialise. In 3 there, I'm sure that'd be fine if you've got a trot box and everything else. Let's get the pallet. So again, loads of little opportunities off the bushes. Stunning location. Drive wise, we came in on Eurotunnel. It took about 6 hours, I think, for us to get here. And to be fair, it probably would have been quicker, but we got lost in Paris. So be careful. What I'd say is really be careful when you're using your sat nav, because if you do have a van, what we found is that it can take you into Paris, and then you go through a toll, and it won't let any high-sided vehicles through. So be careful of that and try and put missed tolls and go round. So yeah, you'll avoid the mistakes we made. Sorry if I'm bumping around a bit, just trying to give you a really good idea about the lake. So we're coming down now to my swim. I haven't even got the stuff out of the car, out of the van I should say. But we're coming down towards swim 11. Now, I looked on the catch reports, and the catches seem to do well pretty much out of every swim, to be fair. But I recognised on the map that 11 gave me quite a lot of water, and I was very lucky in the draw to be able to get swim 11. So I'm very much looking forward to getting out there. And as I say, I'm not going to be putting a lot of bait out. I'm going to keep it very simple. Maybe use tiny bags maybe, or just little stringers. But either way, it's going to be around 6-7 baits catapulted around each rod. So it's a 3-rod rule here, and it's very important to use barbless hooks when you and this is just from speaking to Simon. You probably already know it anyway from looking it up online. But when you do catch a fish, if you catch a fish, which I'm sure you will, when you bring the net in, just basically keep the fish in the water, unhook it in the water, and then basically, there we go, there's a carp, jumped out. Then you can transfer them to the retaining sling. And again, you know, I ended up borrowing one of Simon's because mine was a standard UK one, and I just don't think it was big enough, and he agreed, so he's lent me some of his. So he does have a couple of slings here to borrow, but ideally bring your own, but a large one. So this is swim 11. Okay, so if you can see over there, just put the bucket down. So over here we've got swim 12, and again gives you lots of water. So you've got sort of the dam wall this way, so just here. Seen lots of fish jumping around this area, and again it seems to be, if I come back out a minute, seems to be in this middle area there's been quite a few fish, and also if I spin round in that sort of central area too. So I mean, I've seen fish everywhere pretty much, so whether you go down one end or the other, you sure will have a very good chance of catching. So like I say, swim 11 here, swim 12, then swim 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc, etc. So yeah, lovely lake, and I'll stop waffling now and I'll come back to you hopefully with a fish. Hi everyone, so this is the view you get in between 11 and 12. So you've got 12, as I said earlier, just up here, and then over this side you've got swim 11 just behind that bush there. So lovely nice big chunk of water here, and yeah, the fish definitely get in here from what I've seen just on my couple of laps round. So yeah, like I say, I said it before, but hopefully I'll come back to you with a fish. And again, I'm just going to be fishing small broken baits, small bait, small wafter on the hair, and yeah, little fluorocarbon D-rigs, nothing special, and very light leads. If I see one show, then I'll be reeling in and casting to it.
Very happy. Very happy.
Well done, Dave.
38.9. One coming. I've worked on this week.
Good on you, mate. That's fantastic. Hope you're well. We're finally here. We're at Millstone's fishery. This is part of the mirror pool sort of complex of lakes, if you like. I think there's 3 of them. Now Millstone has got roughly around 130 fish, I think. It's around 7.5 acres, and yeah, depths at the dam end around sort of 10, 11, 12 feet, shallowing right up the other end to around 2.5 feet. So a fantastic lake. The fish run up at the right time of year to just below £70, I think. They've had a really successful spawn in July, from speaking to Simon, the owner here. And yeah, he was saying that they're a little bit down in weight, but there's still a lot of good fish to go at. 50s, 60s, loads of 40s and 30s, so very exciting indeed, really looking forward to it. So I was just going to run through what my approach will be for this week. I should say I'm here with two good friends, Dave and Sisso, and yeah, both very good anglers in their own right, so I'm sure they'll get amongst them too. So first things first, I'm going to be using the muggers. Now I should say that it's a barbless rule, strict barbless rule here. Again, it's just easy to get the hook out of the fish when you're once you've landed them. And to be honest, I was always a bit conscious of using barbless hooks, but actually as long as you keep them on the tight line, it's no major issue. So what we'll start off with doing, and forgive me if the video is not exactly brilliant on this bit, I'm trying to look at the screen and run through the rig. So first of all, we'll take our barbless size 4 mugger, and what we'll do is I'll probably cut off around 13 inches or so of the Mirage, Gardner Mirage fluorocarbon. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to put the hook down just for a second, and I'm going to make a loop. I always think of it like a snail basically, and I'm going to make that loop nice and large. Okay, so about that big. It seems ridiculous, doesn't it? But bear with me. So we've got our snail. There you go. And all you're going to do is you're going to put the back end of the hook and have this on top of it. Okay, so that's all you've got at this point. You're going to take this bit here and you're going to wrap it around. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keeping hold of everything, just wet it all, and then this bit here with your teeth, just pull through. That's it. You feel it all bed down. That's it, perfect. Then what you should be left with at this point, I hold my hand up behind it so you can see. Basically, if that's clear, it's probably easier against the background of the t-shirt to be fair. But there you go, you've got a nice neat knot just there at the top. I'm just going to bed that down, so give it another little wet. I use pretty short hook lengths to be fair, but what we're going to do now is we're just going to move this up a little bit further along the shank of the hook, just in line with the barb there. There we go, just give it another nice tighten down. Okay, make sure it's all bedded in. Then all we're going to do, we're going to take our scissors here. We're just going to snip nice and close. Alright, now with this tag end here, I always just like to tighten up my teeth just quick. Children, don't use your teeth if you can help it. And then if I can find my lighter, here we go. I'm then going to basically, that blob end there, sorry, that end I'm just going to blob down. Lovely. So, oops, there you go. If we just blob down, should be nice and neat. Alright, the next thing we're going to do, so we've got this line left over here, is we're just going to add our ring swivel. This is a medium sized ring swivel. So, just going to pop it nice and simply on the end of this line. Says, without his contact lenses in. Right, so at this point, that's pretty much what it's going to look like. Okay, so then all we're going to do is take this end and put it through the back of the eye. That's it, just pull it down. So again, at this stage, that's kind of what you're looking at. So hold it down like that. I tend to whip up probably around 6 times. So let's do that now. So I'm just going to hold this end. I'm going to whip around 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Holding it. So once you've whipped around 6 times, trap that under your little finger and go back through the back of the eye. Wet it down and pull it nice and tight. There you go. Lovely. And then once we've done that, we're then going to tighten everything up using a hook puller, a rig tool I should say. So at this stage, this is kind of what it looks like. I'll turn it up the other way so you can see the hook rings. Yep. Perfect. Oops, a bit fiddly. Hold that up for you. So that's what it looks like at this point. Nice and simple. Now I'm always conscious that it closes the gate somewhat, so what I do is add a tiny bit of shrink tube just to help basically open up the gate, and essentially instead of it sort of coming out, exiting there, it'll be more like that, but you've still got that massive range of movement from that huge old D. So let's add some shrink tube, and then I'll come back to you in a second to look at the final rig. Cheers. So, alright everyone, so we've basically done the steaming. So at this point now, all we need to do is just manipulate the D. So what I mean is most people when they've sort of tied their D rig up, you've kind of got this sort of slanted D. I kind of like it to be a little bit different to this. So what I do is I manipulate it a little bit and pull it and play about with it until you've got a bit more. Doesn't look as neat, I'll grant you, but for me, I just prefer it to have more free running than sort of where it's tight towards the end. It sometimes stops about halfway, but you need the hook to travel all the way to the lowest part so that it can make the back end of the hook heavy and drop into a prone position more easily. So although it doesn't look as neat, once you manipulate it like that a few times, going up and down holding that swivel, it will just be a lot more neater. You're just pulling down on the bottom part. Okay. Now obviously with using barbless hooks, which is the rule here, I tend to pull my kick around quite a bit, and the hook holds are fantastic, and honestly as long as you keep a tight line they don't come out. So what am I trying to gain from this? I get the properties of a flip and turn rig, but I also get the properties of like a D rig in the traditional sense that as the boilie or bait is lifted, the hook drops prone. So it's the same with this one here as well. So if I hold my hand up here, and as I lift it up, it drops down each time. It's very difficult to show you like this. Let's turn it like that, maybe that's a bit easier. But as I lift up, I do it front on like that. So the bait's hovering above, little wafter, it drops down prey. Now if we do that like that every time, so yeah, nice and straightforward, it will sit flat like that, and as you lift the bait, it will drop each time. And then you've got the added shrink hoop here that will sit around its lip and help trap it in place. So lovely, simple, versatile rig. I know the video's not been great in terms of me showing the rig, but trying to do my best while looking at the screen in this as well. So, but hopefully that's clear. So if I hold that up there and put it here, there you go. So like I say, it'll drop down prone each time. Like I say, Mirage fluorocarbon. I'm using the size 4 barbless mugger, mini hook ring swivel, and just like I say, about an inch of shrink tube, I guess. But yeah, that's what's been doing me the bites. In terms of hook baits, I'm just going to put on the hook baits I've been using for this session. So I've been firing out, I've actually got the bucket underneath here, I'm like sitting everything up, but essentially I'm fishing with the really stinky live system. So it's a really nice kind of like a marzipan smell, and yeah, it's hard enough that it'll go in the French stick fine, but it's quite a soft bait as well. So rather than having to soak my baits and making them more palatable to the fish, you know, sticking them out there for a day, sort of half frozen when you arrive at a lake, it usually takes 8-9 hours for it to get to a point where it's soft enough for them to eat. Don't get me wrong, they'll eat it at any point, but in my opinion, I think they prefer it when it's a bit softer. So sort of a kind of yellowy live system, and then I use either a bottom bait, one of those straight out of the bucket, or what's been doing very well is this brand new bait from CC Moore, which is a Pro Stim liver. And in terms of what it looks like colour wise and everything else, that's kind of the colour that it is. Now with all of my barrel hook baits, whenever I use a barrel hook bait, I always trim off round one end of the barrel. Now I used to fish a lot on Lynch Hill, and specifically on Christchurch Lake, and one of the biggest things I picked up on, because Scott Lloyd was there all the time, and always, well not always, got chatted to him a few times, and you know, one day I was sort of saying he had his rigs ready to go out, and he was sort of saying about his barrels, you know, why he trims down the ends. So, oops, hold it over here, be easier. You can see here that's just been trimmed down around the edges. And basically his point was that when it goes into the mouth of the carp, and I'm not going to profess I know the exact reason why, but apparently it helps with it not rolling about so much in the mouth, and just aids in the hooking potential essentially. So yeah, I'm just trimming it off a little bit closer, but yeah, that's kind of what it will look like. There you go. So let's add that to the rig now. So all I'm going to do in best Blue Peter fashion is cut off some of the bait floss, typically say about sort of 5 inches or so. I know this is stuff you probably already know, but for those who don't, it might sort of help. So yeah, nice and straightforward through the small rig ring. Double it over. I know some people tie a knot. I don't bother. So it's looking like that at this point. And all we're going to do. Oops. Now these, I should say, these Pro Stim liver, they smell like a really rich buttery garlic. So they smell really strong, and the fish seem to really like them. So there we go. Put the bait on the needle. I'm just going to double over up there, letting go of the floss. There we go. Ooh, keep doing it, don't I? There we go. And I'm just going to add this on now. Now some people like to tie a knot after they've put the hook onto the ring swivel, and it sort of looks like that. I tend to tie a knot in what's left. I tend not to. I tend to leave about that much and just blob it, and it's never been an issue. So nice and straightforward. I'm just going to blob that down. Just flatten that down. And that is the end result there. So nice and simple rig that's going to drop home and has the properties of that shrink tube that's going to have it locked in place on that bottom lip. So like I say, hopefully that helps. And again, you've got that invisibility factor. As long as you keep fluorocarbon clean, whether it's your main line or your last sort of 6-7 inches of the rig, you know, you're going to have that invisibility factor that's really going to help. So no, that's not the best, but hopefully that's clear enough for you to see. So that's the rig I'm using. Baiting approach, well, what I'm tending to do is bait up in the evening, probably putting about half a kilo out, not huge amounts, but half a kilo out over the 2 spots, then reeling in, about 5 o'clock. I'm resting the swim, and I'll rest the swim for about 3 or 4 hours, something like that, while I go and have dinner, have a shower, relax and have a social with the boys, because after all it's a holiday. And then I'll come back in and redeposit the rods. I won't put any more bait out at that point, and then pretty much I'll leave the rods in till about 12:30. And then what I'll do at that point is, if I've had nothing, I'll reel in and I'll go for a walk down the shallows, have a walk around the lake, see what the fish are up to, and if there's any stalking opportunities. If there isn't, to be honest, most of the time there is, because they seem to show themselves really, really well. If there isn't, then I'll come back in and drop the rods off, but obviously if they're showing, then we'll go for a stalk. Key bite times. Do you know what? The key bite times seem to be classic early morning, like I say, till about 12. But then bites have been coming in the afternoon as well. So if I haven't gone stalking, I've left the rods out, the bites are still coming. In short, you're going to have a fantastic trip. What I will say is it's not a massive lake, so try and keep disturbance down to a minimum. You know, the other two guys I'm with are the other side of the lake, so I should say that I'm in peg 11. And to be fair, it's probably one of the better swims on the lake. I've got my good friend Sisso is over in 4 on the other side of the lake, and good friend Dave is over in swim 1. So swim 1 sort of looks into the aerators, yeah, that's to be fair, there's been a lot of fish showing up this end of the lake, but Mark's actually, Sisso's had the biggest fish. He's had a 50 so far down in swim 4. I think he's fishing off the island. He's doing really, really well. So the fish get round everywhere, to be fair, but I just think, you know, if you can be on your toes and keep walking around and have a look, there's opportunities everywhere. I mean, we've seen fish in nearly every swim. You know, so it's an exciting place, some great fish. You know, you've got the opportunity to use the mill house for your dinner and things like that. There's table and chairs in there, adequate freezer space for all your bait. You know, you've got microwaves and everything else, really clean toilets and shower facilities. So it's a fantastic place. You really enjoy yourself coming down. One of the things I wanted to do is try and find out a bit of information before I came down, and there was, to be fair, there was 2 or 3 videos that gave some good information. The one thing I would absolutely say is leave your rods in. Don't be keen to bring them out at like 10 o'clock. I think bite time's gone. You know, see it right through to 12, half 12. And even beyond, because as I say, you can get bites in the afternoon. I just like, when the sun's at the highest, to go and have a little mooch round and see whether, you know, if they've gone down shallows, etc. So hopefully that's helped anyway. Let's get back to the session. Let's see if we can have some more fish. Cheers. £50 on the nose, size 4 mugger. Using the live system baits, and that all important £18 HD line. Fantastic. Here we go with a bit of Millstone magic. Is it £42?
42 and a half.
And yeah, fantastic, lovely place.
Millstone, September 23. Mr. Marsh has had a new personal best French fish today, £50 and 8 ounces. So we are therefore going to celebrate in style, and we are going to have a nice pot of the den. Woohoo! Well done, Marshy!
Well done, Marshy.
Oh, Jesus, right in the eye. Yeah, here we go. This is what I'm coming for. A couple of, just this couple, that's all.
Nice fish though.
That's lovely, mate. Well done, Dave.
Clean.
Well done, buddy. Brilliant.
You got to
Get
see
the other
this.
side or we just leave
You
it?
got to see this other one, mate. Do you want to?
No, no.
Hello, well, you joined me on day 3. We've been down to Millstone now, as I say, for 3 days. It's been some great fishing. The heavens have opened up, so I've just had a shower in the lovely facilities, and yeah, I've just come up here to the mill house just to have a quick cup of tea, get some fresh clothes on, ready to combat the rain, and yeah, we'll head out. Everyone's got on fish. We've had a few move around. So Dave is now in peg 12, and he started getting fish straight away. So he's, I think he's had 3 since he's been there. Could be wrong, more. And he had 2 in swim 1, where he was originally. Sisso has moved. Well, he's still in. I think he's still in 4, but he did move to swim 2 for a little bit and picked up a few fish, good angling. He's been doing solid all week. I think he's had 9. And yeah, the fishing's been really, really good. I've got amongst them, I think last count was on 13, I think. We're now on, yeah, we're here on, I think, Thursday now. So we've got, you know, today, a bit of tomorrow to catch a few more. If I can get to 15, I'll be really pleased. But the fish have all been in brilliant condition. And yeah, Simon's been fantastic looking after us. So you're going to love it down here, guys. I mean, I know I haven't gone into great detail about sort of bits and pieces about the fish. It's more just about our trip really and just recording it. But if it can help you, then that's great. The fish do get down the shallows regularly, so it's definitely worth having a look down there. They seem to patrol the middle centre column of the lake from pretty much from all the swims past the island really. So yeah, any of the swims can produce. Fish have been showing out and bouncing all over the place. I predominantly went down and wanted peg 11. Luckily got it in the draw, just because I based it on catch reports really. Did a bit of due diligence to have a look, but clearly from seeing where the other guys have been fishing, fish are coming out from all over the place. And actually I had a quick look down at 6 and 3 I think, and yeah, again there's fish there too. So there's fish all over the place. You're pretty much guaranteed to catch on here. There's some lovely fish in here and you'll have a lovely time. I'm gonna have to stop waffling because I'm going on and on, so sorry for that, but I'll come back to you before we leave just with a final roundup. Cheers guys.
Very happy. Very, very happy.
Well done, Dave.
38, 9. Long time coming. I've worked for this week.
Good on you, mate. It's fantastic. Monsoon-like conditions here at Millstone, but we all really enjoyed it. Here we go, a lovely 32. Fantastic stuff.
celebrating. We've had a fantastic week. Thank you very much to Simon, who's properly looked after us. I'd love to say we're going to be back. It's been that good. So, on behalf of Millstone,